שמש דקה ומוות בכנפיה.
Then she fell on her face, bowed down to the ground. She worshipped Boaz. That was Ruth's reaction to Boaz's offer to protect her, to provide for her, but also to his claim of absolute exclusivity. She didn't just nod and say, yes, okay. She didn't just say thank you and bowed like this, or even fell down like on the ground or kneeled before him. She didn't just do what Muslims do, that they still have their feet or their legs below their body. She was absolutely flat on the ground. That's the position that a human being takes if he can't do anything anymore. This is what Ruth did. Normally this expression is translated with to worship. That is what Jacob did. That he prostrated himself 7 times before his brother Esau when he met him after a lot of years. That's what David did 3 times before Jonathan when they were parting. His forehead touched the ground. He expresses an absolute inferior position, and that realistically describes the difference between Boaz and Ruth. But we should pay heed also to a difference in the relationship between Boaz and Naomi and Boaz and Ruth. We do not know of one incident where Naomi worshipped Boaz the way Ruth worshipped Boaz. And it is actually a matter of fact that Boaz fulfilled his duty in redeeming Naomi. But his redemption of Ruth was pure, was sheer grace. We keep in mind that Ruth is an image for the Gentile church and Naomi is an image for the Jewish people. And if we keep that in mind, then we see that the Apostle Paul, in his letter to Romans, makes a similar difference between the Jews and the Gentiles. In writing, Messiah became a servant of the circumcision. He redeemed those who were circumcised for the sake of God's truthfulness, to confirm the promises that were given to the fathers. So he fulfilled his duty. God had promised it, and Yeshua was fulfilling what God has said. The Gentile nations, however, or on the other side, Paul continues, shall glorify the one true God for his mercy, for the grace they received. Ruth was surprised. She had every reason to anticipate the opposite treatment, and therefore she comes humbly, not arrogant. And she doesn't claim something. She asks, why have I found favor in your eyes that you should even look at me, recognize me, acknowledge me? I am only a nochriya, a foreigner. The Hebrew term nochriya is a term that in the Bible is normally quite negative. It is the foreign lady who is a challenge, a danger for Israelites. And there is no legislation, no mention of in a positive way of a foreign woman like that. She has no protection, and Proverbs, for example, warns of the adulterous foreign woman, or the books of Ezra and Nehemiah. There we see that the Israelite men have to divorce their foreign wives after the return from the exile in Babylon. This general image is seen up to the New Testament. In Matthew 15, Jesus encounters a Syrophoenician lady, and it amazes me until today that she says, "Yes, Lord," when he told his disciples that she is only a dog. Or we have this fact in Romans 11, where the Apostle Paul says that the Jewish branches are the natural branches that are broken off from the noble olive tree, and they are, according to nature, being grafted in again, whereas we Gentiles are against nature, have to be broken off their natural olive tree in order to be grafted into the noble olive tree. Now we have to see that throughout the Bible, this attitude of non-Jews towards the Jewish Redeemer, I say, has a key function. If you think of the Egyptians at the time of Joseph, that they have to sell their possessions, their land themselves to Joseph, in order that Joseph in the end will be able to redeem, to help his brothers. I want to show you one more passage to show you the crucial importance, significance of the worship of the Gentile Christian community throughout the past 2 millennia. Isaiah in chapter 49 writes how the Lord will lift up his hand, will lift up a banner to the non-Jewish nations, and calls them to do something with the Jewish people, to bring them back into the land. And then he says, with their nose to the ground, they will worship you. It's exactly the same words like with Ruth. Nose to the ground, they will worship you. The dust of your feet they will lick. And then, this is the crucial behavior. Then it says, you will know that I am Lord. Those who set their hope in me will not be put to shame. If the Apostle Paul in Romans 11 talks about the salvation of the whole of Israel, then we have to see that the presupposition is the fullness of the Gentile nations. That means the full number of Gentiles who do what the Lord has called them to do, to be what he has called them to be.